The very first thing that I had to do for this project was to do some 3D modeling. I have some experience with CAD, but I also wanted to stretch a bit, so I tried to learn a bit more about Blender. And then I really stretched and picked up some ZBrush to make one of my more complex models. It's more of a sculpting program than a CAD program. The learning curve is pretty steep, but I got there. Going back to my CAD foundations, I did a lot of the diegetic pieces in Fusion 360 because I'm familiar with the software and it's very easy to be precise. And I did a lot of the arrows, the restart, as you see here, as well as the key and other objects that didn't require a lot of detail. So I simply sketched them as CAD sketches and then did an extrude to make them 3D and exported them as FBX files. Another way to use diegetics is color. Making a color symbolize something. So for this project, I wrote my own shader. It's a glow shader. It's adjustable so that the glowing portion can be made larger or smaller, and it is meant to be a cue to the player that this is an object that they can interact with. So that most of the objects you interact with are this color except for the game pieces. Some of the fundamentals for my game were animation, and there's quite a bit of it, and locomotion, that also shows my glow shader at work, and scale. The player would be a child, so they would be low to the ground. Interaction is color-coded and animation-coded. We have two types of germs to kill. They have different points. And some of the doors do require keys. Well, this door does. Some doors open just by touching them, and some doors are triggered by your score. I wanted to include empathy as well as some video. So I combined the two. Here we have something you would find in a hospital, a heart rate monitor, and a heart that creates a little shadow dance on the wall while music plays about people who are different and having empathy for them. You can also see the gamification on top. I have a score, and you have to get a certain number of points in order to open the very last door. This also demonstrates spatialized sound. I used 3 types of lighting in this project. The directional light is mixed. It casts the shadows. The area lights in the rooms are baked. And then I have spotlights on certain objects and spotlights that allow the shadow dances in a couple of rooms. And I also did a flashlight effect. There are 3 areas of spatialized audio, technically 4, but one you won't get away from fast enough to notice it's spatial. The first one, of course, is with the empathy, and then there is a poster at the end of the hall, and there is the elephant, which is animated and has audio. I allowed shadows because it didn't seem to affect the frames per second too badly, and I only used hard shadows, not soft shadows, to help with the performance. I used 2 tests for this project, one in the early stages of the project to gauge interactivity, color, cues, diegetics, to make sure everything was understandable and easy to use because this is a child's game. I used a tester who is an experienced gamer And my other tester is a coworker who happens to have been a school teacher and also suffers from motion sickness, making her a very, very useful tester. And she gave me some excellent tips on how to change things to make things more understandable for children.